Hello, it's Kian, Pierre, Joey. Hello to all of you. Welcome. We are trying to have a live stream simultaneously with YouTube, but in the meantime, while we're waiting for them to possibly get the message that we are live, you guys can go ahead if you have any question regarding relationships, breakups, the role of the psyche in what we go through after the breakup, and how we can regain our balance and go for bigger and better things. And in regards to topic of OCD subsets, intrusive thoughts, HOCD, you're welcome to throw in your questions. And we discuss the principles of 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz and other scholars such as experiences of neuroscientists and neurosurgeons such as Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Owens, Dr. Leibet, and we talk about Dr. Grable's research in regards to cluster of actions to the brain is one action, and many other topics, many other discussions in regards to involvements of the components of the brain in this glitch, in this disorder of OCD and HOCD and intrusive thoughts. So if you have any questions in regards to that kind of a disorder or your relationship or breakup, by all means, just write your questions and hopefully I can see it. Sometimes I don't see the questions on TikTok. It's so difficult to see those questions. It's so fine lines that I miss it. So if you did write a question and I didn't get to it or I didn't see it, please write it again because YouTube has a specific place for all the questions. I can see them all very quickly and easily. But TikTok, it's hard to find the question. I got to keep scrolling up and down to see the questions. And if there is any, I miss it. Easy to miss. So we have lots of people joining. I don't know how many of them are transient. They just come and go. But we have Faisal and Turquit, Trouble, and I'm back, it says. Old Man, Josh, TJC, and many others. Heavy G, Liz. Hello to all of you. And if you have a question, please throw in. And we have somebody in YouTube says, can't see you. Oh, sorry. All right. Got it. There you are. Sorry about that. Let me put a little bit more light here. Maybe that'll help as well. All right. Perhaps this might be of some assistance in lighting. But the problem wasn't lighting. The problem was I had forgotten to switch to. What is this? There we go. Switch to actual my face. All right. And he says, remember to let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Potara Gaming, or yeah, something like that. He says, thank you, sir. I recovered from HOCD. Well, delighted to hear that. We have about 1,000 videos on YouTube channel of ours in regards to OCD and OCD subsets and HOCD specifically. And we have over about 3,000 or close to it videos regarding breakups. And so there's ample information, and none of them are teasers. They're actually talking and discussing the question that I pose in there, or the topic that I want to talk about, to help you. And none of them is about a teaser for you to go on my site and buy a book or make an appointment. Those are all extra. If you watch the videos and you still have certain questions, or you want a specific one, or you can't find the video you're looking for, or you don't know how to look for it, then you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, and you can make an appointment and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype, which is now Teams, the old Skype. And let me also give you easier ones for my site name, so easier to remember. All right. We'll see dot something. All right. You can reach the same site, mindthatseekstruth.com, under HOCD.world, HOCD.world, or breakups.world, breakups.world, or OCD-HOCD.com, OCD-HOCD.com, and HOCD.ca, HOCD.ca. These are the same site, only different words that could be maybe easier for you to remember than mindthatseekstruth.com. I'm going to write that down for everybody to know that this is the same as the mindthatseekstruth.com. I'll put it on, there we go. Now all of you have it. Now let's see if you have any questions here. And Pater says, Patora or Potara says, but I'm going through other subtypes, unfortunately. Okay. And Captain Barca is here. He says, hey, Miran, I don't understand all these talk about sexuality and questions or question something when we know who we are attracted to since we are a small kid. Yeah, usually for most of us, that is how it is. But the brain has a glitch sometimes that, depending on how sensitive the amygdala is and trying to protect you, but it doesn't know how. So it comes up with something that knows it's not in line with your values and wants to protect you. So it keeps bringing that topic that is irrelevant to you, and then introduces that in order to bring your attention to such possible choices that it is not of your gender, but it wants to protect you, so brings that to your attention to the brain thinks that you got to do something, which you don't need to do anything. It's the overactiveness of the amygdala that does that and sends a certain kind of a emotional danger signal while there is no danger. It doesn't exist, but it does send that. And prefrontal cortex says, well, there is an emotional danger signal coming from amygdala, but I don't have any narrative for it. What kind of narrative I can give to this danger signal? Well, it says, the most dangerous thing for anyone in this world is something against their values, something against their gender. Their gender is most important. This is why homosexual people get this same glitch of OCD, HOCD, and heterosexuals get the same, only on different notion. For example, homosexual friends will get this glitch suggesting to them that they're heterosexual and that they like opposite sex. And that is not in line with their choices and values. And the heterosexuals get this glitch of suggestion by the brain that they like same kind of a gender, which is not in line with their value. But because the brain has suggested that, many people who don't understand the relationship between the brain and themselves, they believe the brain and they get really bothered and they try to do things which there is really nothing to do, because the more time you spend on this subject trying to convince the brain, no, why you say that? I'm not. I'm a homosexual. Why do you say I'm a heterosexual? Or I'm a heterosexual. Why do you say I'm a homosexual? This debate is exactly what the brain is looking for, to get fed by the energy of the debate. And it learns to make more of these suggestions rather than treating the brain according to your values. If you're uncomfortable with such suggestions and you see the contradiction, so you become aware of the contradiction between what the brain says and what you are and your choice and value, then when you see this contradiction, you think that it must mean something. Because when there is a suggestion by the brain that is not in line with your values, naturally in midbrain basal ganglia in striatum, there is a lever, among other things, called caudate nucleus. Caudate nucleus's job is to shut down the intrusive thoughts when they show up, and it's irrelevant to you. You're not interested in that. And to each his own. Some people are interested in this, some people are not interested in that, and so on. Either way, caudate nucleus's job is to, when it sees something that is not of interest to you, not in line with your values, like every human being on earth has intrusive thoughts. And when they see some kind of, or their brain suggests some kind of intrusive thought, they say, oh, that's nasty. That's and a second later, caudate nucleus shuts it down because it knows it's not in line with this person's value, and that's it, dissipates, and you go about your business. But OCD brains, the caudate nucleus is malfunctioning. So it doesn't do its job of dissipating these suggestions, images, or whatever it is that the brain secretes. So because it can't dissipate it as its default function, the narrative or the signal, the emotional reaction of you to the suggestion of the brain hovers, stays, remains. And you thinking that the brain is the smart part of your entity, you think it means something because it hasn't been dissipated. And that's the beginning of the problem. You think the brain is the smart center, and if it suggests something, it has merits, where in fact it doesn't. Brain is as stupid as it comes. There is no intelligence center in the brain. Dr. Speary and Dr. Penfield, they have maybe each have performed 1,000 brain surgery, and most of the time their patient is awake under the surgery, because once you break into the skull, there are no nerve endings to feel pain in the gray matter in the brain. So the patient is often awake to guide the surgeons if they're getting results that they're looking for. So the surgeons have been able to stimulate, let's say, occipital center in the back and have some kind of a light, so some kind of sight, and so they could localize sight center. or stimulate another part of the brain, and to be able to have a motoring movement, a limb moving. So that's the localizing a motoring system, section, localized center. Or they could be stimulating something, and a speech, a sound would come out of the patient's mouth, and she or he, says something or makes a sound. That's localizing the speech center. But they have never been able to localize compassionate center, consciousness center, math center, intelligence center, love center. None of that. So the fact of thinking, the idea of thinking that the brain is intelligent, or it's your intelligence center, or where you get your smarts, all bullshit. So when brain makes a suggestion of this kind, it's because of the malfunction over stimulation, over action, overactiveness of amygdala with the signals, and the malfunction of caudate nucleus for not dissipating or shutting down that sort of a suggestion. And then you wonder. And in order to back this up a little bit without being too scientific, if you know about the history of humanity, we've lived for what, millions of years? But only until 40,000 years ago, we got this brain. We existed before 40,000 years ago, and everything was instinctive, like animal. Run, hunt, eat, have sex, and no questions, no non-biological deficiency of psychological problems. Because we could not think. There was no thinking ability. There was no speaking ability. So there were no questions of any kind about your sexuality, about whatever else. Everything was instinctive. So there was a you before the brain was developed to suggest all these things and create all these problems, and at the same time be so helpful in helping you to figure out things and sort things out and learn things and help you to accomplish things you wanted to accomplish in this life. So you have to remember that thoughts are the roots of all problems. And these OCD and OCD subsets, including HOCD specifically, is not you, is a glitch. So knowing that, it helps you to take the first step. And the first step to recover from HOCD is not to believe your brain. And then try to use the scholars and scientists and neuroscientists and psychotherapists and psychologists' experience and research to rewire the brain to its default setting through neuroplasticity. All right. As you can see, I try to be thorough as much as I can given the time. The videos on the channel is also very thorough. The discussions are very helpful. They're not designed to entice your appetite about more and get you to spend some money. It's all good videos that will give you answers for the title of the video. And Captain Borka says, hey, Mehran, I experienced HOCD for a short period of at 14, but went away because at that time I didn't do anything about it because I didn't know what to do. There's nothing to be done. It just confuses the hell out of you at any age, because you hear all these discussions and all these gender changing and all these other discussions that when a glitch like this happens, you think maybe that is also me in reality, but it's not. HOCD is not what others may experience in their own understanding and biological makeup. All right, let's see if we have any questions here. No questions. I can't see any questions. Lots of people have joined. I don't know if they're still here or not, but there are no questions. Amelia, Milana, interesting names. R10, Empress. Okay. Dandy's World. Welcome, all of you, but I don't see any question here. So if you do write a question, write it a few times so I can get my notice there that, that must be a question because it's a few times here. Otherwise, it's hard to find a question here. All the lines are so small. Prints are very small. All right. But that's typical of TikTok. TikTok friends usually don't have any questions. Well, we've been around for 23 minutes. I'll hang around a few more minutes. If there are no questions, then I'll just mosey on out and maybe watch a movie or something. That's a nice cocoa. So we don't have a lecture tonight, guys. So if you don't have a question, there would be no discussion. I'm not going to say anything unless somebody asks a question, like Captain Barca, who did that, and we covered that question. Tomioka. That sounds a little Japanese name. It would be lovely if you guys help me to see how far we are reaching, like telling me about your age, gender, and where you're tuning in from, instead of just joining and the system tells me so and so joined. I like to know a little bit about the so and so. So if you tell me your gender, age, where you're tuning in from, which city, which country, that'd be great. I get an idea, at least, our audience. All right, another minute. And if I don't have any more question, I better let you guys get back to what you're doing. And I'll also do something else. What is a flash goal? It says you've got a flash goal. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Anyhow. Amir Hamza is here from, looks to me, I can't see the actual flag. Looks to me like Saudi Arabia, but I'm not sure. All right, guys. All right, looks like we don't have any more questions. So at this point, I like to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share a thing with you, share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.